The sun was harsh on the red sands of planet Karoth. Small colonies of humans had learned to survive in this dry, harsh world. But it was never easy. Machines hummed in the background, keeping water flowing and energy running. Alien plants with silver leaves swayed gently in the hot wind, and distant mountains seemed to shimmer like glass. In this lonely landscape, every human step mattered. Lyra pressed her hands against the cooling panel of the water reservoir. It was a simple task, checking the shield systems and ensuring they worked properly. She had been doing it for weeks now, and yet her fingers trembled slightly. There was something about the desert's silence that made her uneasy. Every sound, every vibration felt amplified here. I should have tested it yesterday, she muttered to herself. She frowned at the blinking red light on the control panel. The protective shield around the reservoir, the heart of the colony, was showing signs of wear. If the shield went down, even for a few minutes, predators from the wasteland could find their way in. Lyra hesitated. Should she call for help? The thought of asking Rancher Jarek made her pause. He was the colony's strongest human, a man who could tame the wild alien beasts that roamed near Karoth. He wasn't the kind of person to fuss over small errors, but she knew he would notice immediately if anything went wrong. Her hesitation cost her. The panel sparked. A sudden flash of light filled the small control room. Lyra stumbled backward. "No, no, no," she cried. Her heart raced. The shield had deactivated entirely. Outside, the wind picked up, carrying a faint but terrifying sound, a low, rolling growl from the distance. Jarek, meanwhile, was in his small ranch not far from the colony. His house was simple, metal walls, reinforced windows, and the usual assortment of alien beast pens outside. He was checking on one of his tamed creatures, a four-legged beast with glowing stripes along its back, when the alert beeped on his wrist monitor. He froze. The signal was clear. Someone had tampered with the reservoir shield. His instincts, honed by years of surviving Karoth's wilds, kicked in. Lyra. He recognized the location instantly. He ran to the doorway, peering toward the horizon. The desert was calm, deceptively so, but he knew better. Silence in Karoth meant danger. Jarek mounted his rover, a sturdy vehicle built for speed across rocky terrain. As he drove, he thought quickly. Alien predators on Karoth were not like Earth's predators. They were intelligent in a strange way, able to sense energy fields and movement from miles away. With the shield down, the reservoir had become a beacon. The colony's water supply, its most precious resource, was now a target. Back at the reservoir, Lyra was already at the control panel, trying to fix it. Sparks flew occasionally, and her hands were scratched from the metal edges. Come on," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the wind. Every second felt like an hour. The growling outside was growing louder, and small tremors shook the ground. Something large was coming. A shadow moved along the horizon. Lyra's eyes widened. The predator was enormous, taller than any human, with long, spindly limbs and eyes that glowed faintly in the red dust. It moved with a grace that was terrifying. Humans in the colony had learned to respect these creatures. They were fast, clever, and relentless. "Jarek," Lyra shouted. Her voice carried across the small comm link, static and shaking. I can't get it back online." It's coming." Jarek's voice came through immediately, calm but commanding. "Stay calm, Lyra. Don't panic." "I'm coming. Keep yourself safe and stay behind cover." He pushed the rover faster, the sand kicking up behind him. His mind raced. The predator would not stop until it reached the water. He had no time for hesitation. When Jarek arrived, he saw Lyra crouched behind a metal support beam. The predator was closer now, sniffing the air, its glowing eyes scanning for movement. Jarek froze for a moment, taking in the danger. Then he moved quickly. He carried with him a few gadgets he had built, simple but effective. A flash emitter, a sound disruptor, and a net launcher, designed to slow down creatures that moved faster than humans. He set the devices around the reservoir, thinking quickly. Each second counted. "Lyra, on my mark," Jarek said. "We distract it together." Lyra nodded, her hands trembling. Jarek activated the flash emitter. A burst of bright light exploded near the predator. The creature recoiled slightly, its glowing eyes narrowing in confusion. It let out a low, resonating growl that shook the ground. Lyra took the moment to run to the control panel, trying again to reactivate the shield. Jarek's plan was simple but risky. He would bait the predator toward a canyon nearby where traps could be set. Humans had learned the terrain of Karoth better than any alien could. He moved deliberately, keeping the creature's attention on him. The predator followed, its movements quick and deliberate, but it was cautious, smart enough to avoid obvious traps. Lyra worked as fast as she could, her fingers moving over the control panel. Sparks flew again, but then, finally, the shield hummed to life. A faint blue glow spread over the reservoir. The creature froze, sensing the new energy barrier. It growled angrily, hitting the shield with a massive claw. Energy arcs sparked across the surface, but the shield held. "Got it," Lyra shouted. Relief surged through her. She ducked behind the panel, watching the predator. Jarek saw his chance. He activated the net launcher, firing a heavy, electrified net toward the creature. It roared as the net wrapped around its legs, slowing it down. Using the predator's momentary confusion, Jarek led it toward the canyon. He sprinted, leaping over rocks and small ridges, keeping just ahead of the massive creature. The colony watched from a distance, the lights of their homes flickering in anticipation. Humans had survived Karoth's harshness before, but this was different. This was a test of skill, of quick thinking, and of courage. The predator struggled in the net but continued forward. Yarek's plan was working, but he knew it was only temporary. The creature was stronger than he expected. If it broke free, it would head straight back for the reservoir. He needed a new tactic, something humans had that predators didn't: creativity. He spotted a narrow canyon entrance. Using ropes and weights, he had prepared a trap earlier in the week, just in case a predator came too close to the colony. He guided the creature toward it, dodging its massive claws. The predator lunged, but the net slowed it enough to stumble into the trap. Heavy rocks fell, closing part of the canyon behind it. For a moment, silence. Then a distant roar echoed from the canyon. The predator was trapped but alive. Yarek exhaled, finally allowing himself to relax slightly. Lyra ran to him, her face pale but smiling. "You did it," she said, looking at the massive creature trapped in the canyon. We actually did it." Jarek nodded, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Humans survive here because we think, we adapt. The creatures are strong, yes, but we are smarter. And we work together." Lyra looked back at the reservoir, glowing faintly under the reactivated shield. "I almost failed," she admitted. Jarek shook his head. "No, you learned. That's what matters, and now we're ready if anything else comes." As the sun began to set over the red sands, the colony lights flickered on. Humans had survived another day on Karoth. The predator was contained, the water was safe, and the lessons had been learned. But in the sky, distant shadows moved. Alien ships far above, watching the colony's survival. Lyra shivered. "Do you think they saw us?" Yarek looked up, squinting at the horizon. "Maybe, but that doesn't matter. Today humans were ready. That's what matters." And for the first time in days, Lyra allowed herself to feel hope. Humans might be small in the universe, but on Karoth, they were clever, they were brave, and they could survive anything. The night fell over the colony, blanketing the red sands of Karoth in deep shadows. The twin moons glowed faintly above, casting pale silver light over the rocky landscape. For most of the humans in the settlement, it was a quiet night, but for Lyra and Jarek, it was far from calm. The predator trapped in the canyon growled occasionally, its massive body thrashing against the rocks. Sparks of energy from the net still clung to its limbs. Lyra shivered as she watched from the colony's observation post. Even though it was trapped, the creature's strength and intelligence were undeniable. She felt a mix of awe and fear. Fear of what might come next, and awe of the resilience of life on Karoth. Jarek approached her, his footsteps careful on the sand. "We can't leave it there for too long," he said. "It will figure out a way if we ignore it." "We need a plan," Lyra nodded. "I've been thinking. Maybe we can use its instincts against it. We can guide it, not just trap it. It's smart, but humans are smarter. We can trick it." Jarek raised an eyebrow. "Trick it? How?" Lyra pulled up a holographic display from her wrist tablet. "The shield emits a specific energy signal. I think we can adjust it to mimic a warning signal that the predator recognizes. If we combine that with sound and light distractions, we could lead it away from the colony entirely, without harming it." Jarek considered her idea carefully. It was risky, but he trusted her. Humans on Karoth survived because of creativity and quick thinking, not just brute strength. "All right," he said finally. "Let's try it. But we need to act fast. The predator is restless, and the colony's defenses can only hold for so long." They worked quickly. Lyra modified the shield's energy signature, adjusting the frequency so it sent out a warning signal the predator would understand. Yarek placed sound devices at intervals along a path leading to a distant canyon, creating an artificial trail for the predator to follow. Flash emitters were positioned strategically to catch its attention at just the right moments. As they prepared, the predator in the canyon began to stir. It roared, a sound that shook the ground and tested the strength of the rocks holding it. Sparks from the net arced across its claws. Lyra's heart pounded as she watched. This was no ordinary animal. It was clever, calculating, and deadly. Jarek moved closer to the trap, keeping his distance but ready to act. "Remember," he said, "we guide it. We don't fight it. Humans survive by thinking." Lyra nodded, her fingers flying over the controls. She activated the modified shield. A low hum filled the air, subtle but noticeable. The predator paused, tilting its head, sensing the change. Its glowing eyes flickered as it emitted a low, questioning growl. Jarek triggered the first sound device. A sharp, rhythmic pulse echoed across the sand. The predator's gaze shifted toward it. Lyra activated the first flash emitter, and the predator recoiled slightly, then moved cautiously toward the canyon trail. It was working. Slowly, carefully, the predator followed the trail. Every few minutes, Lyra adjusted the shield signal, and Jarek triggered the next sound device. The predator hesitated, then continued. Its instincts told it to investigate the disturbances, but it was also cautious. Humans were using its intelligence against it. For a while, it seemed almost too easy. But as the predator approached a narrow ridge, it realized something was off. It paused, sniffing the air, sensing the faint vibrations of the humans guiding it. Its glowing eyes focused on the next flash emitter. It hesitated, then leaped toward it, narrowly avoiding a trap designed to slow it down. "Steady," Jarek murmured. "Just a little more." Lyra's hand shook slightly, but she kept adjusting the shield. The predator's path was almost entirely under their control now. Step by step, they led it toward a distant canyon where they had prepared a containment area. The final canyon was wide and deep, with walls too high for the predator to climb. In the center, a containment net reinforced with energy barriers would hold it securely until they could figure out what to do next. The predator reached the canyon entrance and paused. It roared, sensing the trap, but it was too late. Yarek triggered the final flash emitters and sound devices simultaneously. The predator lunged toward the canyon floor, and the reinforced net closed over it like a dome. Sparks flew as the energy barriers activated, and the creature struggled but could not escape. Lyra exhaled a long breath. "We did it," she whispered, a smile breaking across her face. Jarek nodded, but his eyes scanned the horizon. "This is only the beginning. Something about this creature. It wasn't acting alone. I can feel it. Others will come." Lyra shivered. "Others?" Yarek pointed to the sky. "Those shadows we saw before. Alien ships. They're watching. Humans survived today because we were ready. But the universe is bigger than we think. And they know we exist now." For a moment, the two stood silently, looking at the containment canyon. The predator's growls echoed faintly against the rock walls. It was alive, intelligent, and dangerous, but it had been bested by human creativity and teamwork. "Do you think it understands us?" Lyra asked, almost to herself. "Maybe," Jarek said, "but it doesn't matter. We're humans. We survive because we adapt, because we think, because we work together. That's our edge." The night passed slowly. Yarek and Lyra took turns watching the containment area. They repaired any minor damage to the energy barriers and ensured the predator could not escape. The colony slept under the glow of protective shields, unaware of the near disaster that had been averted. By dawn, the desert was quiet. The twin moons faded, replaced by the harsh light of Karoth's sun. The predator rested in its cage, still alive but subdued. Lyra and Jarek stood side by side, exhausted but proud. "Humans aren't the strongest," Jarek said, looking at the settlement in the distance. "But we're clever." "And clever is enough," Lyra nodded. "We made it through today. Tomorrow, we'll be ready for anything else." Suddenly, a faint shimmer appeared on the horizon. Lyra squinted. "Jarek, look." Several small ships hovered in the sky, distant but unmistakable. They were sleek, metallic, and unlike anything humans had built. Their sensors were clearly studying the colony. Jarek's jaw tightened. "They've noticed us. The universe is watching. But that's fine. We survived the predator. We can survive them too." Lyra swallowed, excitement and fear mixing in her chest. "Do you think they'll attack?" Jarek shook his head. Not yet. They're observing. They want to see what humans can do. And now they know. They know humans are clever, adaptable, and brave. That's the reputation we'll carry into the stars. For the first time, Lyra felt a thrill of pride. Humans were small in the galaxy, fragile compared to the creatures and technologies around them. But today they had shown strength that could not be measured in claws or energy weapons. They had shown the strength of the mind and the courage of teamwork. The alien ships lingered for a moment, then disappeared beyond the horizon. Yarrick watched them go, his mind already planning defenses, strategies, and preparations. "Let them come," he muttered. "Humans are ready." Lyra smiled, looking at the predator in the canyon. "We didn't just survive," she said. "We won. And we'll keep winning," Jarek nodded. "Humans fight back, Lyra. That's what we do." The colony stirred behind them. Lights flickered on in the small homes, humans waking to another day in the desert. For generations they had faced harsh winds, wild predators, and deadly storms. Today they had faced something new, a test of intellect and courage. And they had passed. As the sun climbed higher, Lyra and Jarek returned to the settlement. The predator remained in the canyon, a reminder that danger could come at any time. But humans had a new reputation now. They were clever, resilient, and united. And in the universe that might be more powerful than anything else. Far above, distant stars twinkled. The human colony on Karoth had survived. They had adapted, and they had proven that in a galaxy of predators, humans could stand tall, think fast, and survive against any odds. The desert wind whispered around them, carrying the promise of new challenges, new adventures, and new tests of human courage. And the humans were ready.